Welcome to Creation to Restoration, the podcast that explores behind the scenes of the biblical timeline. With your hosts, Randall Owens and Andy Pat.
Well, good morning, Danielle.
Good morning.
Now, you guys may have noticed right off the bat there's something very different today, and that would be that Andy's not here.
Yeah, I'm not Andy.
Andy has been replaced by my really good longtime friend, Danielle Lancia. And it's crazy that today's topic is going to be big church or small church, and the pros and cons of each of those kinds of things.
And we both know that very well.
Absolutely. We've both been a part of very large churches, on staff and running them and helping and all this stuff. And we've also been a part of startup churches.
Yep.
So there's a qualified opinion going in here. And so there's reasons to be big, reasons to be small. Here at Fuel the Church, we've chosen to be small intentionally, but let's go back and talk about a little bit of how you and I met.
Oh, boy.
A long time ago. Yeah.
Like 2006?
2006. So going on 20 years.
Yeah.
20 years, and
you look the same.
Well, you almost look the same.
Oh boy. I've heard this story so many times,
and I love telling it, so I'm going to do it again. The story is, we were looking to hire an associate producer at our studio, because a lot of you guys know that I used to be in TV and film, and Danielle had graduated school recently with a degree in media.
Yeah, video broadcasting.
And so we thought, this is great. And so we had a mutual friend that kept telling me, he said, Randall, you've got to meet this girl, Danielle. Man, she's really sharp, and she's energetic. And I don't know if she used those words, but she may have. And she said, you need to meet her if you're looking to hire anybody. And it just so happened that we were going to be losing the associate producer that we had fairly soon. And so I said, yeah, I'll talk to her. That's fine. And she said, well, she works at a bank right now, because you had to take a job at a bank.
Because I graduated college, and then I got bored and just went to a bank.
So you were a teller, I guess, what you were doing. So so it was like the middle of the week or something, and it's like, yeah, she's gonna come over, can you hang around and wait till after hours? I was like, yeah, okay, sure. So this young lady shows up, and it's Danielle, and she's dressed like a bank teller, just very professionally, and everything's great. And so we talked for a while, and I said, well, you know what, yeah, you got the qualifications for an associate producer, let's get you in. And you said, let me give you 2-week notice over at the bank, and then I'll show up. And I was like, okay. And
I showed up a little differently than the first time you met me.
And so I told all the the people that were there at the studio, and the folks that were I get this girl coming in, Danielle, and she's going to be great, because she's going to be working with our clients, and she's going to be super sharp and all like that. And then it comes the Monday morning after your 2-week notice at the bank that you show up.
Oh, let me tell.
Okay, go ahead. You tell it.
I got adult braces.
In between the time you gave your 2-week notice and the day you started.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I didn't think you would care,
So, well, I didn't care so much, but from the professional young lady that interviewed, and the
teenager that showed back up,
the 14-year-old that showed up with braces and a ponytail, jeans and a t-shirt, which is appropriate for what we do. Associate producer, right? And I thought, I can't let her talk to any of our clients now, because they'll be like, what are you running, an ice cream stand over there? What's happening?
Gosh.
So we did that you were there for,
a few months before. Another surprise that you loved so much.
So, and I made here's a young girl that we're going to hire, and we're going to bring her into our studio. And I said, listen, I'm not going to bring you in, because you're at the age and you're married now, and said, I need somebody that's going to be with us for a while, that's not just going to have kids and quit.
Yep.
Not get pregnant and need to
leave
forever.
No, I'm not doing that.
And young Danielle says, no, not me. That's not going to happen. So we went to Cabo San Lucas on a shoot, and it was great. It was fantastic. It was for a large company, a big resort out there, and we were shooting this project. And Laura, my wife, and I were out there with Danielle, and we're like, hey, we got the afternoon off, because we were out there for like a week or something. So do you want to take a ride on a glass bottom boat?
Because y'all are awesome.
You take a ride on this glass bottom boat, and you were like, no. We're like, what?
Very unlike me.
It's so very unlike you. Like,
and because I found out I was pregnant the night before we left, and I couldn't tell anybody.
Yeah, she was like, Laura and I were on this glass bottom boat with the guide, and we're like, we couldn't figure out I don't know why Danielle, she said she wanted to go back to her room and lay down. I'm like, I don't know what's going on here. And of course, when we got back, you told us, and it was like, oh, okay.
So we have lots of history.
Lots
of
history.
Disappointment. I've been such a disappointing person.
No, it all worked out great.
It did.
Yeah. So that's the beginning of the relationship.
Yes. And you and Laura have been super close friends in my life. And we have walked through, I was talking to Laura about this. We've walked through so many important, critical life moments together. It makes me want to cry.
That is exactly right. When, see, don't get me started now. When we were, before we started Fuel, when we were going through some really, really difficult times, I've told the story over and over multiple times to our church here. And I don't know if I've told it on the podcast or not, but I'm going to tell it again. We were in this very difficult situation with the business and losing all kinds of money, and things were just going horrifically awful. And I just felt impressed by God that we needed to come and see you. Mm-hmm. We needed to come to where you guys were. And because I'd asked God, so did they have something to tell me that I don't know? And God said, yeah, you need to get up there. And that was, I remember praying that at 1 o'clock on a Friday. And I think at 3 o'clock we were in the car driving out of state to get to where you were. Mm-hmm. And I remember I texted you and I said, hey, are you around this weekend? And you said, yeah, you want to come up? And I said, yeah. And you said, you're coming up for the business? You're coming up just to hang out for a while? And I wrote back and I just said, I don't know. God hasn't told me yet, but I know we're supposed to come and see you. And that was kind of the beginning of our journey towards understanding more about the kingdom and understanding more about, what we're supposed to do and the vision for what God has for us, because it was about to be the time in our life that was a complete shift. Getting away. It was the first journey towards leaving production.
Yeah.
And
which
getting
you
into
didn't think
ministry.
You would do.
No,
I didn't think you would.
Never had any intentions of doing that. That was not in my plan. That wasn't, however, God's plan. That happens sometimes, right? So I said at the beginning we're going to be talking about big church or small church, and one of the reasons that I was felt so led to come and see you was because I knew that you guys had started a church, and it had not been going very long at all. And suddenly, I think you were up 1,000, 1,500 people.
Yeah, like after a year.
Yeah, that's right. Once you launched publicly, you were like, it had blown up, and that's what I couldn't understand, because I kept, thinking, well, God, why are you blessing them so much? And I'm, things are just drying up here at the business. I'm sucking wind, and they're just exploding. What do they know that I don't know? And that was the catalyst for, I think I need to go see them. And God said, yeah, you need to go see them.
It's a catalyst. It's not always an indicator of what you think it is.
That's correct. That is correct.
That comparison.
Yeah. You got to be careful.
But God used it.
Absolutely. 100% God used it. If for nothing else, an inspiration to push us more towards surrender.
Right.
That was the real key.
Because we left jobs in ministry, but we left jobs that if you want to be in ministry, you don't really leave. And we left everything and didn't know what would happen. So we definitely did just kind of lay it all out there and go for what we thought God was leading us to do. And then we watched him do some things for sure.
So you guys grew into what would be considered a very large mega church. I mean, we're not talking tens of thousands of people like that, which is the rarefied air way up at the top when you think about what normal people consider a successful church, but you were growing well beyond the average.
We were the largest church in our city.
Yeah. I mean, that's the measure by which, and this is how I say, butts in seats is the way the church world normally views success.
Right.
And
for a lot of reasons.
For a lot of reasons. And there's benefits to that.
Yes.
But I think, again, this is for me, and the reason I've chosen to do what I'm going to do with a smaller church is there's benefits in that for the church. There may not be as many benefits for the people, for the sheep that need a shepherd. That to me is where that model starts to break down a little bit, because. Well, lots of reasons we'll go into later.
And I was on that side of things, and, we didn't know we would experience growth like that.
Right.
I mean, we wanted to. We wanted to make an impact. We wanted to make the have the greatest influence we could and reach as many people as we could. That was my reason. And then you scramble. I remember the scramble of trying to figure out, we have 1,500 people. We want to care for all those people. So then you start to break it down and try to shepherd all those people and try to have all the systems and all the things. And then you're just in this cycle. And it's not conducive.
Right. So, yeah, how do you, without just saying, okay, we're going to take a church of 1,500 and start 7, 200-member churches, where a shepherd can actually love and care for these 200 people.
And if that's not the plan from the start, and you're scrambling, you don't know what to do. Like, that wouldn't even be...
It would never... Yeah.
Let's break it all apart. We're already trying to figure out how to do it in the first place.
Because what happens is, I think, just from seeing this from the outside, is once you get to that, now you've put systems in place to accommodate for 1,500 people. Right. Now you've got a payroll of staff
to
help you accommodate for 1,500 people. And so any thought of breaking that apart destroys the model.
Well,
you can't sustain.
You can't sustain because you didn't set it up that way.
Right.
So I'm super interested as a friend, hearing what you're doing here. Really interested to hear about more of your vision for that model.
So what we're going to do is, and I've said that our goal is 300 people. Now, we're in the middle of starting to, thinking about this expansion project of, we're in a shopping center. Intentionally so. So we can only get so big. Like, our current space is like 4,000 square feet. And when I say expand and remodel, we're just going to make better use of that 4,000 square feet.
Right.
We're not adding to our monthly rent.
Right.
So we've intentionally kept our overhead low. Now you say, well, how does that work? Because you can only fit, even with 2 services and 150 seats, you can only fit 300 people in here. Well, more than that, and they don't have a shepherd. They've just come to enjoy what I hope is a good sermon. Yeah. Right? They've come to, but they don't have a relationship with me or our elders because, we don't have a green room. I'm not hiding in the green room until time for me to walk out on stage and be the man.
Right. Because you're not creating a system for growth.
Exactly. We're creating a system for growth, but depth.
Yes.
Right? It's not this, it's that.
So what happens going deep. When you grow?
When we get to 300, here's what we're going to do. Here's the intentional plan, because we're equipping the saints for the work of the ministry. Yes. So as I have an associate pastor part-time, Andy Pat, that's normally on the podcast. So we'll have a guy like that. Maybe it's Andy, maybe it's not. I don't know. But we want to launch him out into his own church. We want to take 100, a full 1/3 of our congregation, and say, y'all go plant another church. Now, and here's the key, because you're like, well, everybody does that. What are you talking about? That's no big deal.
Campus, right?
Yes, a campus, but that is not 100% not what we want to do.
Okay.
We want to launch them out as their own church. And then when they grow to 300, they do that again.
Love that.
And when we grow back up to 300, we take another and we launch another one. And I'm not saying plant. I'm saying we launch them out. They've got their own shepherd. They've got, so at 100 people, if you've grown depth in believers and people are giving and tithing, they're giving generously and they're bought into, wow, my life changed. Like, I've been in church. All right, let me say it again. Here's the motto around here. People, when you launch a church, everybody wants to know who's your target audience because they view it like a business.
Right.
If you go through one of the church planting models, which we'll talk about in a few minutes, because that's what they were telling us. You identify your target like that. And I said, well, when I started thinking about who is my target, I think my target is people that have been in church for 10, 15, 20 years and don't remember the last time they opened their Bible.
Which is the opposite of a lot of church planters.
That is exactly right.
Right.
That is exactly right. They want to again parachute in and reach a bunch of unbelievers, and then 3 years later, those unbelievers that may have actually genuinely prayed a prayer, their life is still a complete mess because they're still infants when it comes to understanding anything in the Word. They can't get to that next level, and their life continues to be a mess. But as long as we can attract more unbelievers and put more butts in the seats and get more and bigger and bigger and bigger, we think we're being successful.
Well, and I was there trying to create the programs to help those people connect.
Right. But and so in an environment that large, you're only going to get so far with that.
Right.
So people know that, I keep my, I sit out in front in the lobby area. That's where my desk is. People walk in on a Tuesday at 2:00. I'm sitting there. They want to come in and talk and hang out because something's happening. Come on.
Right.
If I'm working on a message, I stop and we talk for a while.
Yeah.
So they have access. So, and it's kind of the anti-green room, anti-big public speaker, anti-come and just watch the show. I do say this all the time, like, I don't know why you people keep coming back. I've got nothing special for you to see and enjoy and be.
Well, I don't know your perspective on this, but growing up in church and with a relationship with God, I think that we all go through different phases of life and we all need different things at different times. And so there are different things for different people at different times. If there was one thing, the target audience can't be everyone, right?
Oh, that's right.
So like what you're creating, there is a void for. There is a void. And what I walked through personally, we talk about how I was a church planter. I had a church, all past tense. Yes, there was a major fallout, lots of sin, and I'm no longer married to the pastor of that church. And what I've walked through has given me such a different perspective of church. I was connected to many, 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 many pastors and many, many, many churches that I've felt like not everyone, but the majority watched my situation, and just, I feel as if they sat back, and I know a lot of them well. So there's a difference between intention and what actually happens. I'm sure they were well intentioned, but I think they sat back and watched from a distance and almost I feel as if it's like, what a sad story. I can't wait to see what God does. While I'm in years of suffering with my kids and feel like I've been left for dead, And so I do think there's a place for different.
And so you were running with major mega churches. You knew all those people.
The people that were on our board, people would know their names. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of judgment cast on a lot of those people. And I maybe am still too much of give the benefit of the doubt, but I saw behind the scenes in a lot of things, and even people that judge those people, for the most part, they're all well-intentioned, but we only have our own perspectives. That's the perspective I have, is that I ran a megachurch. I actually managed our staff of 20 people. I had my hand on everything. I was in every detail of the ministry. And I was well-intentioned, but I didn't have perspective that I have now. And so the people that we look at and judge, and maybe some should be, I have seen that they lack perspective in so many areas. And sometimes we can't have it if we haven't walked through certain things. The reason you're here with this vision now is because you have a new perspective, because you didn't always have this perspective.
That's exactly right.
And because of what you've walked through and experienced, now God's refined your vision for something different. And it's for a purpose. And it's because you have a target audience that needs what you are offering.
Right. If believers are ever going to grow to any depth, they have to move beyond the first and I mean, it's step one. You can't, unless you understand the salvation message, unless you understand that Jesus loves you, you're not part of the kingdom, right? So you have to have that message, but you never get depth if you never move past that message. I've said for years, and I'd be, here's me of little faith, right? I'd be shocked if you'd ever find a megachurch who is fantastic at reaching the lost, because they put on the big show, and it's the big emotional thing, right? And they said, our job is going to be to bring them in, and then we're going to feed them over to you for discipleship. Because I think they truly do believe we can disciple too. They believe, because they've got the resources, and they've got a big staff, and they've got
and they have the intention.
Right. But that doesn't always actually get it done, because, and here's how I know that. I know it. Here's why I think it. Because when life does hit the fan, who do you have in that megachurch to go to? Who is it? Now, you may have a friend or two, but who is the spiritual authority in your life that you can say, and that already knows what's going on, that you could come to and say, this isn't what I thought it would be. This church isn't doing a thing, I mean, a thing, not just a thing for me.
The reason they're not able to is their perspective is so much higher, because they're over so much more. It's as if, I picture it like I'm in a plane and I'm up high and I'm looking down at everything and I can see a broad range of things, but I can't see anything well. Whereas if I were on the ground in that neighborhood, in that home, in the backyard, sitting at the pool with those people, I could see every detail of their face and know everything about their life. And so they're not capable of seeing the details.
The leadership,
because they're elevated and seeing a broad amount. That's why I was in that position and I was trying to put all the things in order to get down to the backyard of the people, but it's just a different perspective. And I mean, you talk about growth and, oh, ye of little faith, like until you do walk through things. I've walked with God since I was 3 years old. The God I've known my whole life, genuinely thought I knew, and the God I know now, because no one was there, are two different people, but he hasn't changed.
That's right. The Jesus with skin on is the one you were looking for.
The one that I've cussed at.
Yeah.
Not cussed out, but been real with. Like, who are you? I won't say it on this podcast, but like, who are you? Because I thought that no one like me who was genuinely following you and trying to do the right thing would walk through this with no help. And I've had to ask some real questions and not have a place like this to go to.
That is 100% why we're doing what we do. Because I know people don't want to think about it and they don't like to go there, but it is something is going to happen in your life where you are going to need desperately people to walk with you through it. There might not be anything we can do to change it.
Right.
But you have to have those people in your life. And that's why I say, again, the big churches are fun to attend. They have good intentions. They don't intend to throw people aside when that happens. But because the leadership has been elevated, and just knowing this from being on the staff at a big church before and being in large companies, because they function the same.
Right.
People don't like to think about that, but they absolutely function the same. As a staff guy, even an upper level staff guy at a mega church, I'm really more concerned about making sure I keep my job and doing what that takes to look good to the next pastor over me than I am to make sure that person that I kind of just barely know is taken care of. So, and that's the same in the corporate world. It's same, it's cover your own rear.
Self-preservation.
It's self-preservation,
right.
Because we've built churches around a business model.
And which, I'm going to push back just slightly, only because I was in it and I didn't feel another way to do it, because you're trying to manage what's coming, right? And so when you do that, and when you don't have a prepared plan and vision like you do for this, to break it apart, if you don't go into something with a certain vision, it's really hard to change course.
Yes, and that's why these church planting systems that are out there, these large organizations that will help you plant a church that have been doing it for 20 years, I put it on them. If you were planted by a place like that knows discipleship is not going to be a real main thing here, because you're never going to be able to pull that off. You've got good intentions, you're trying to, but we've given you no system to be able to do that, because our goal is for you to be a mega church. And because they launch you that way, if you launch with, 400 to 600 people, the next week you'll have 200 to 300 people. The week after that, you'll have 150. And then you can really start to grow from there. We're sitting at about 65 right now. And at any given time, I've got 2 or 3 or 4 families with some major, critical, life-altering issue going on.
And you know about it.
And I know about it. And we can be there for each other. But if I go into it saying the most important thing is growth of numbers, that's the most important thing, because that's what everybody looks at. That's the system that's been built in the American church to say, this is the goal.
Well,
lots of people.
So
it's built.
From an innocent standpoint, it's for longevity. Yeah. So my question to you is, how do you sustain a ministry? Financially, it takes money. You have to pay your water bill and your internet at the church and at home. You have to have resources to help the people going through stuff, keep the lights on, buy a microphone. So how does that work?
You'd be surprised how little money it takes if you're not trying to put on the show.
Yeah.
If you're not paying a band.
Yeah.
If you don't have a $100,000 sound system.
Well, I mean, I believe it from a personal level because I have learned that you can live life way more frugally than people think.
I don't see, maybe it's just me, I don't see, and maybe it's a cop-out, and I'll admit that. I don't know. I don't see in Scripture the megachurch model, like where we're going to be, again, there were 3,000 added, and they didn't stay clumped together as 3,000.
Well, the letters to the churches, they all have different names.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. So you start to see now, and we haven't even gotten here yet. So maybe we'll save that for another podcast. But what was the original mega church that we see right now? The Catholic Church.
Oh, golly!
That's a whole.
Yeah, we've both been to the Vatican.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of crazy there, and which again would be a great topic at some point to be able to dig into and to discuss that kind of, because
there's a lot of money there. Let me tell you.
Yes. But so again, if I 3,000 square feet. In a shopping center. Okay, we got a good deal on that. As long as I'm trying to keep it, because we're not going to stop growing, right? Don't think we're small to stay small. We want to keep growing, but every time we get to a certain level, and again, I think that's 250 to 300. If it's 250, we take 50 people and plant them. If we take 100, if it gets to 300, so we're continually growing, out, but it won't say, that building will not say fuel on it, and Randall will not be the senior mega global pastor over all of it.
I think it goes back to vision. I think because it's your vision, then you can situate all of the things to flow in that direction, and it makes sense. If you start a church without that vision, it does take the money to do all the things because you're trying to do something else, and you're always striving to keep up, and then there's a tipping point where you're going to make it or you're not. And that is where self-preservation does come in because we're human. I've watched it.
Yep.
I've watched it.
Yep. See, I would venture to say, maybe I'm wrong, but the people that helped you plant would have seen you as a failure if 4 years in you had 65 people like we do. They would have said, we're not throwing any more resources at that. That's a loser.
Yeah, I don't know. Because
I don't know either.
Who we went through, it was you start, they help you from the start, and then they continue to help, like, how do you do things type resources, but not financial resources. Yeah. And I never experienced it with them. We did grow, so I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got a different story about them because we talked to them at the beginning too. That's a whole different thing. But yes, the model for what, and this is what I believe, what used to work, 30 years ago, when they first started doing that, it was, oh my goodness. You looked at people like, Willow Creek in Chicago. You looked at Saddleback out in California, and it was just like, oh my gosh, these things, that's the vision. That's what we want to do. And so they started trying to plant people to create that. And that was the goal of success. Not, we want to grow people who are willing to give everything 100% surrendered to Jesus. Because, there's people like Job, and there's people like, all the apostles that had to die. And there was never hey, this is going to be fun and easy and a great big show on Sunday mornings. It was, this is going to be hard and it's going to be difficult and you're probably going to have to die for your faith.
Yeah. I grew up, like I said, in church, and I moved a lot. I mean, I went to high school in 3 different states. Like, I've been to a lot of churches, and regardless of, like, they're all different, but it essentially all gets you to that same place. Is like, I grew up with the mindset, because my life was pretty good. I walked through stuff, but I had the mindset that if I did the right thing, my life wouldn't just catastrophically implode.
Right.
Why?
Things wouldn't fall apart if you're living for God.
But
right?
I watched people have cancer, and I watched people's kids die in car accidents, and I watched people lose their jobs, and I watched, and things happened to me, but nothing that ripped my soul out and affected every part of my life where I couldn't even get my footing. So I just like innocently assumed that would never happen. And then it happened. And I was like, wait a second. I literally said this to a friend the other day. Why do we raise our kids to not be prepared for this? Because this will happen.
That is, oh my goodness. That's my theme here, right? And I can't get, because you'll talk to what I consider the average Christian. Mm-hmm. They go to church. You know the average stats, and you probably know this, once every 6 weeks. Mm-hmm. It's what they say a committed Christian actually goes to church. Do you think that person who considers themselves a committed Christian has any idea what to do when life falls apart?
I mean, I've just pressed into God. But like, no, I have a solid foundation where at the end of the day, my forever philosophy has been, if something doesn't make sense, the problem's not God. I mean, from childhood, if something's messed up, I don't understand something, or it seems like whatever, it's not him.
If something is confusing, there's a piece of the puzzle you don't have.
I'm missing something. It's a broken world. It's sin. It's my ignorance. It's my lack of understanding. It's not God. So that has been the piece that's gotten me through, because the church, just in general, they taught it. It just didn't stick to me. And I was having this conversation with my friend, and I was like, I think we don't want to raise our kids to be pessimists. And so we don't tell them, like, your life will fall apart. Something terrible will happen. Someone will do something terrible to you. You'll be blindsided by a death that you didn't expect. Your life will fall apart on some level at some point. So what do you do when that happens? Who are you at the core, and what keeps you holding on to where you don't become a drug addict, you don't become an alcoholic, you don't unalive yourself, as they say online these days. Where's your center, and what pulls you through? And how are you just not surprised? Why am I so surprised? I'm 5 years into hell, and I'm still like disillusioned and disoriented, and like, how is this happening, and how can I not get out of it? Read the Bible. Like you just said, people died. Right. I'm not even close to death.
So why are you surprised? We're shocked by it, but we shouldn't be. Right?
Why?
This is the life we were promised. We didn't read the fine print. So when I say people walk the aisle and pray the prayer and have no idea what they're doing.
The best part is everybody, whether you know God or don't know God, walks through hell at some point.
Correct.
When you know God, like I just said, I've questioned him in every way. I've cussed in my conversations with him and asked him, who the heck are you? What do you want from me? Like what combination do I put in to get something out? What is that?
Right. Because that's what we're taught. In the church, we're taught, okay, behavior equals blessing.
Yes.
Whether it's giving, whether whatever it is, you
reap what you sow.
Yeah, exactly.
So I've had this conversation.
Yes.
Was it Joyce Meyer? I didn't sow for this. Like,
yeah.
I don't understand.
Yeah.
But like, my life is not in a vacuum. 5 years. What is that? We're talking about eternity and all the things. I mean, read Hebrews 11, the faith chapter, and then how many people didn't see.
Right.
Their lifetime, what they were believing for. That's hard.
Well, not just what they were believing for, what God promised them.
He promised them. But guess what? God didn't promise them in their lifetime.
Correct.
There's generations. There's people that come after us. There's people that look at our lives and experience things because of our lives. That's hard. That
to me becomes the danger of preaching that people will have blessing when they come to Jesus. That here's all the blessing chapters and folks that focus on those things, because let me tell you, that preaches good.
I've experienced a lot of it.
Yes, that pumps people up a lot, but it doesn't stop what's coming on the other side.
I've experienced a lot of it and then was very disoriented when that didn't happen.
Yes, that's how I got to where I am today as far as teaching what I teach. And the reason we're put together the way we're put together as a church to grow is because I said, if I'm going to teach people, and this is when I got real serious, I said, I need to examine all these things because, again, I can the crowd will get pumped up if I start talking about these things, right? Because human nature says, yeah, I want that to be true. Yeah, I want that in my life. And then when their life goes to pot and they look at me and go, wait a minute, Pastor Randall, what did
I do?
That didn't turn out to be true.
Right now.
Exactly. So I've got to make sure that what I say isn't anything extra that I've added to the Bible or that I've alluded to or that I've taken out of context because it preaches good. You know,
I've got Bible is very complicated.
It is. That's why it's very important to rightly divide the word.
Yes.
Right. So I can't just preach. What is it? Is it Deuteronomy that gives all the blessing? You know, blessed in the city, blessed in the country, blessed in the. Well, the chapter right after it says you're going to be cursed in the city and cursed in the country and cursed coming out and cursed going in if you don't follow the instructions at the beginning, which again, keeping God's word in your heart, not doing anything against what's going on, right?
I did
that. But nobody talks about those things. Right. They only preach the blessing.
But then also, and I'm not trying to spin off into something else, but like also when you're feeling cursed, are you focused on that? Because I have said a couple times I'm in hell. Life is not normal for me right now, but I am so blessed. Like, if I actually look at the things God does and pay attention, which all of us can do, you know, like that's where the resilience comes in too. And like actually looking at the goodness of God. Is he good when good things happen?
Yes, he is. And he is also good when bad things happen. He is good, period.
Right. So that's the part.
Job, the first chapter. When everything had gone wrong so far, he'd lost his children. He lost all the wealth. We'll leave it at there. It hadn't been touched physically yet, but lost all the stuff that most people would find happiness and call success. And it says, and yet he did not lay any accusation at God. Said the first thing he did was tear his clothes and worship. He got down on his face and he worshiped when he got this news. So is the hard time, like it has for you, driven you to God? And that's the key. You have to have a foundation. I'm grateful that you had enough foundation that when it all went sideways, you were able to say, but God, he is still there.
Even though I know him less, I feel like I know him less than I ever did. At the core, he's the only thing to hold on to.
I think the danger is when we start thinking we know God, when we've got him figured out.
Yeah, I don't. I definitely don't.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you know what I do know? I know you're good. And even though you've asked me if I trust you and I've had to say no, I know deep down I do, because what else is there to trust?
Right. See, but you were honest. Again, do you trust me? No, not right now. You don't look trustworthy to me right now. But again, my perspective is a very small perspective.
Right.
But if we can see that, but humans and Christians are so self-absorbed because we've been taught. I mean, a lot of our worship songs are
American,
right? Are me-centered. How do
What's God do for me?
Right. How do I pick a church? Well, they better have something that does this. They better have something for my kids. Now, again, are those things important? If you've got kids, you want something for your kids, sure. Yeah. But if God has told you, here's how I like to say it. There's a reason we don't have a bunch of good musicians lined up at the door that want to come and play here every Sunday. But there is a bunch of good musicians.
They don't have a stage.
Right. There's no lighting. There's no stage. There's no big sound system. There's no lasers or smoke.
Because don't get me started on worship people.
But that's kind of the point. It's like, oh, I want to serve God with my gift. Do you?
Do you know how many places you want to be worshipped for your gift?
So we have what we call here worship services, like all churches do.
Right.
And so I ask people, did you come to worship or to be worshipped? And if you want,
Randall, I knew I liked you for so many years.
So
it's true.
If your reason for coming to church was what you get versus what you came to bring, your gift you bring to God.
What does it feel like when I'm on stage worshiping?
Yes, exactly. As long as that applause keeps coming.
Yep.
I'm going to say one thing and then I'm going to stop.
Okay.
What makes me a little bit crazy, because we're so far out of time right now, it's crazy. Longest podcast
Sorry, you had
ever
to
for
circle
us.
the parking lot a few times to finish this podcast.
That's right. Yeah. I know you got where you were going in the car, but yeah, keep going. It makes me a little crazy to watch a preacher, and I won't call him a pastor because he's not pastoring at this point, that'll be preaching on one side of his auditorium and say, I ain't getting no amens over here, and then goes to the other side because like he gets more ego pump over here because the people are clapping for him. And I'm going to leave it right there. Danielle, thank you for being with me today.
Thank you.
Let's do this again sometime.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
So glad I didn't have to comment on that.